Hello, this is a View from the Bridge official podcast of the Belfast Giants for kingdomofthegiants.com. Today's Tuesday, the 19th of September, 2023. My name is Patrick Smith. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, and on Twitter. You can also download us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and a load more of your normal podcast providers. On this week's show, 2 preseason exhibition games between the Giants and the Clan wrap up the niceties as we prepare to start the real action with the group stage of the Challenge Cup this weekend. He wasn't available the weekend, but he joins us tonight. Mark Cooper is our guest. The EIHL have a new stats package to track the game online for your enjoyment. Our resident stat man, Davy, chatted to Luke Fisher of the Elite League all about it. And for his first appearance since 2017, the original friend of the show, Marc LeFebvre, will return to View from the Bridge to help preview his Dundee Stars weekend against our own Belfast Giants. Mr. McJimsey, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, Mr. Smith. It's very lovely to see you, Mr. Kitchen. Hope you're well.
Mr.
Very
Kitchen,
good. Mr. McJimsey, how are you?
Actually, I'm not doing so great. I've gone deaf in one ear, like just
What?
can't hear. I know. It's lucky I'm facing this way, or I wouldn't have been able to hear that.
Have you only got one ear put in?
Pointless putting one in the other ear. Can't hear anything.
That's yeah. I've heard that happen. A few people have starting to get I think our old friend Joel Neal's had a bit of issue with that as a hearing going as well. I was reading about how he's a few issues with just old age, man. Old age. What can I say? We're going to crack ahead with I was hoping to have Laura Small join us. She's dropped out. She'll be here in a couple of minutes. It is organ donation week, and we're delighted to be joined by Marcin McGowan. How are you doing, mate? Marcin, can you hear us?
He just put a message there that says he can't hear us. Not hear us, Marcin?
And we can't hear him. Hooray! I don't know what's happened there. Well, we'll come back to Marcin in just a second. Hopefully we can sort that out. But it is organ donation weeks, Simon, and it's a real drive from the Belfast Giants. Another one that Laura will be along with us in a second to talk about.
Yeah, it is. It's huge. We've done this for quite a number of years now. It's led by Laura, and she gets everybody involved in it. We had a few of the kids down today. Actually, not just the kids. A lot of Giants fans were down at the arena today, along with some of the players, and they took a big photograph today. So hopefully, Laura's going to be able to come back on and give us more details of it. She's an absolute machine when it comes to this type of thing, and the what she does for everything with regards to getting the exposure and dealing with the marketing team and just getting out there and liaising with the donation organizations and everything as well. It's nothing short of remarkable. But I don't know enough about it, Patrick. It's one of those ones where I should know more about it. I'm registered as an organ donor, and Jasmine and my brother and sisters are well aware of what I want to do when and if I pass away. So it's I want to donate anything that's of use to anybody else. There's not an awful lot of me that probably I don't know about knees and I don't know about shoulders and what have you, but I've a good heart, I think. So if there's anybody out there that could potentially benefit from that if something happens to me, I think it's the right thing to do. So if anybody can go along to the register this weekend, and I know that it's like a soft register. I'm not sure the correct wording for it. You're automatically become a donor now before you actually have to say yes or no. The way you used to have to tick a box. I think it's automatic now, but yes. Still, if something does happen to you, whoever your dependents are, they still have to go to them first of all and say, "Are you okay with this?" Even though they said they wanted to donate. So it's I think again, Laura and Marcin will have much more information than I will.
Well, let's bring Marcin back in because you can hear us now, Marcin.
Yes, I can. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for joining us once again on A View from the Bridge. It's good to see you. Obviously, young Dahi has his name on that law with regards to the opt-out and the opt-in on being an organ donor. But from your point of view, how important is the drive this week?
It's absolutely massive. Dahi's law is in place. And, we've already found out that it's actually saving lives. I got a text a week after Dahi's law would come into effect from a lovely family to say that their loved one was the first in Daithí's Law, and their loved one went on to save 2 lives, and that was just a week after Daithí's Law came into effect. But what the biggest thing that I would love to get out of tonight, and I know there's plenty of people listening because I'm already getting messages of stick saying sort it out with my microphone, is that it's organ donation week every week for my family, and a lot of families and out there, and every day and every week is organ donation day and week. But for the general public, it's a great opportunity to turn to your loved one. And even if people are watching in couples or with family tonight, just turn to your loved one and say, remember, I'm a registered organ donor, please respect my wishes. Even put it in the group chat, take 2 minutes to have that wee chat. The thing is, Daithí's Law is in place, but the way I like to look at Daithí's Law is it's a bit of a safety net. If anything were to happen and you weren't registered, you're automatically a donor unless your family says no, or it always goes down to the family. But the thing is, we want people making their own decision. We want people to take the 2 minutes, tick that box. That box is still there, Simon. You can still tick it and come along to us at the game this weekend, and it takes 2 minutes. And so that's the way we look at it. Daithí's Law, it's amazing that it's in place, but we're still encouraging people to join the organ donor register because it's so important.
It is a case where, obviously this Friday will probably is the main game where we'll be, you'll be able to go and be part of that registration. The awareness is such a massive drive. You've brought it up there yourself, the awareness, and not just like yourself, but your family, your friends. And as you say, letting people know. It's quite shocking at times about how many, especially if I talk about my own family, my own friends, quite sure how little awareness there is of it.
Yes, and that's why we started the campaign back when Daithí was listed. We were horrified to see that only 42% of our population had joined the register, and at that time it was on the up, and people were happy with that. But I was saying to myself, hold on a second, my son needs a gift of a heart transplant. It's the last resort. A transplant's the last resort, and if you're a registered organ donor, you're in the minority in society. I thought that was insane. Now, I'm happy to say that in the time we've been campaigning, and we're delighted to have played a role in this, is that it's now 53%. So it is creeping up there, and with Daithí's Law in place, that things are looking a lot better. But we're not there yet, and even with Daithí's Law, I kind of thought there was a wee bit of a vibe that that job's done and we're sorted now, and we're far from it. Our Daithí still is far from getting a new heart as he was this time last year, and in this year was seen the week the law came into effect that he was actually suspended from the list, and I'm happy to report he's back on the list and he's back waiting. But so much can happen in a year, so we just want to encourage every single body to tick that box, be aware, share your wishes with your loved ones, because no matter what, if you're on the register or if you're not on the register, it's your loved ones that make that decision. So your loved ones actually have the potential to overrule your actual decision. So you have to make sure you say to them, I'm a registered organ donor, please respect my wishes.
Fantastic. Let's bring we spoke about it earlier on. We can finally bring her in. Laura, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you, Patrick. How are you?
Very, very, very well. From your point of view, and what's happening this weekend with regards to the game on Friday night?
So it's Organ Donation Week, and as always, we are supporting that. We have so many fans that are affected by organ donation, be it recipients waiting for an organ or have given their loved ones organ at the last minute when they've died suddenly and they've made that decision. And it's like Martin said, it's so important that we tell each other this. We talked about it in our meeting today because that's exactly what they said. Oh, is it not all kind of sorted like with the law? And I was like, no. And also your family will have the ultimate decision. So tell your family, tell your loved ones, tell whoever is going to make that decision in your moment that that's what you want. So we're also going to be looking, not only encouraging people to join up for organ donation, but also to donate blood. And I know I batter on about this every year, but it's not changing, and we're always going to need blood. Northern Ireland needs 850 people need blood every week. That is an obscene figure, and only 6% of the people actually donate here. That figure is not rising. I feel like I've been saying that since 2008, which is wild. If you're aged between, I think it's 16 or 17 and 65, you can give blood. It is relatively painless. It's just a little prick and you're done like a couple of minutes later, and you've saved someone's life in, I think it's in 3 days, 3 people's lives in something like 3 or 4 days. There is nothing better you can do for people than save their life. Nothing. We are really hopeful that one last thing, and then I will be quiet, we are going to be doing is stem cells. So people, bone marrow transplant, so people are still fixated on the old process that was used, which is where a very large needle was put into your hip bone and the bone marrow extracted that way. That only happens in 5 to 10% of cases now. It is as straightforward as like removing blood. The stem cells are grown within you. The byproduct that they need is grown within you and like taken out like blood. That is nothing. Again, a couple of hours at the hospital, you're home to go, like good to go home that day, and you've saved someone's life. It's insane. So we're hopefully going to be able to do those tests and get people to actually sign up and test themselves. They'll be added to the stem cell register. It's basically like doing a COVID swab, but it's even easier. It doesn't go down your throat, doesn't go up your nose, it just goes into your cheeks and you're done. So we're just waiting on that company, hopefully, to send us those tests. We encourage you all. It's probably going to be in the bridge. It may move. Come along. Every time we have this conversation, I have people message me. I'm not really sure if Organ Donation is for me. My advice, come along, look Martin in the face and tell him that, and let him explain to you why it's important. Talk to Dylan. He's going to tell you why. Dylan is a recipient and a donor. I mean, he's got to be a few in the world that are in that boat. Talk to Graham, who has a heart. Talk to Tom Simpson, who has had over 300 blood transfusions, the importance of blood. And then come back and send me a message next week and tell me if you still feel the same way. Come and listen. It's all very well me banging on about it, but talk to these people who it actually affects on a day-to-day basis. That's my rant for the day.
Fantastic. Listen, the amount of work that goes into to providing this, and obviously what we do is just a drop in the ocean compared to what is required, but every single little piece will be helpful in like blood donation, organ donation, everything like that. What you can do, the littlest things you can do can help save lives, and I think it's fantastic that we are in this and that we help push this, and hopefully it'll be oh, Laura's gone and Laura's back. Hopefully, we'll be in a position where somebody who comes along on Friday and registers can go on to help, save another person's life, which is just remarkable. Guys, listen, we really appreciate your time tonight, and thanks for joining us. Good luck on Friday, and and best of luck. Give her love to Dahi as well, Marcin.
Well, Dave, thanks very much for having us. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Big thanks to Laura and to Marcin for their time. Right, gentlemen, let's have a look at the 2 games that took place over the weekend in Glasgow and back at the SSE Arena. The Belfast Giants in the final pre-season action that took place before the start of the Challenge Cup group stages this forthcoming weekend. I'll take you through a couple of statistics and then we'll talk about the games and have a few of the highlights. On Friday, the Belfast Giants were in Glasgow and they won 5-2. The goals from Nazarian Brown, 2 from Preston, 1 from McLeod, and for the Clan, goal from Bolton and Jordan Cowney. Jackson Whistle and Jake Kelly were nets, respectively. And then it was back to the SSE on Saturday, and it was a 3-1 win for the Glasgow Clan. 2 from Bolton, 1 from Craighead for the Clan, and the Giants goal come from Quinn Preston. Jackson and Antti Karolainen were in nets for Antti Karolainen was nets for the Glasgow Clan. I'll be honest with you, gents, on the back of what we've had in the weeks gone by with the CHL and the action of the preseason we had going back to the Devils, and what we've got coming this forthcoming weekend, David, I really couldn't get myself up for these games.
You couldn't?
No, I just found it not like after the Lord Mayor's show, but like what were feisty enough games. But you're talking about we were short on bodies to begin with. And there are 2 games that were just sort of keep us ticking over before we go into the games against Dundee.
I think in our own little WhatsApp groups, we talked about this. This for me was a little bit about conditioning, maybe getting a few guys that don't normally play with each other. Maybe just let this start here. There's a superb tribute just to Mike Hammond at the very start. Oh, you don't have the sound on?
Oh, you have the sound on? Yeah. Sorry. It was obviously Mike Hammond. Mike Hammond actually having passed away over the summer. A player for the Glasgow Clan, the Manchester Storm, and the Nottingham Panthers. A lovely tribute there.
Oh, it's very sad. Like the Giants actually started quite well. This is 7 minutes in the game. It's a bit of a jam play in front of the net. Giants come away 1-0 up, and I thought that the Giants did everything they had to do in the game. As we said, this was a little bit about getting our backup goaltender some minutes in between the pipes. You got the both games at the weekend about getting, like, Max Stewart played a lot of minutes. Unfortunately, Sean Norris went out of the game with a bit of an injury. But it was just about, as you said, very well put, Paddy, just about keeping the legs, taking over, just putting this weekend and then getting back onto the practice rink. Because I talked last week during the podcast about this stage of the season now, the practice is even more critical than the game time. Maybe with what has gone previously in the CHL games and a few games against Cardiff, you never know. This is maybe actually a couple of games that Adam maybe could have actually done without and had a day or two's practice. But look, it does no harm for the guys to also get that one trip over to Scotland under the belt, understand what it's like travelling on the boat there for a lot of boys that won't have been on it before, getting the bus legs out of the way in the first period, having to come out sharp, all those things that'll stand them good stead for the weeks coming ahead. I thought we were very functional. We did exactly what we had to do. I thought actually on Friday night they're only maybe 7 or 8 days in the camp or whatever, and this is their first game. I just thought with the CHL and the games against Cardiff and stuff, we were just a bit ahead of them, physically and in skill levels and stuff. I just thought there was a margin of a gap on Friday night there that the Glasgow Clan couldn't really compete. Whenever we were skating, they couldn't skate with us. So that'll be something they'll be looking at, and there'll be things that Adam will have been able to take out of the game, and hopefully everybody comes through whole and they get a good week's practice this week leading into the real action.
I really agree with you especially on that first game in this game here, that in the first period, maybe period and a half, and I was like the Clan struggled to skate with us at all. It was quite, yes, they're a few weeks behind us in camp, but also we're bodies down and probably not playing a full pace. Actually, we weren't playing a full pace. So yeah, I think there might have been a level of concern there from the Clan. Simon, what was your take?
Do you know what? I was talking to a couple of lads yesterday, and it might sound really weird, but we were playing at a level in the CHL, which, with the greatest respect, is much faster and a lot of more prestige than the EIHL. And I'm not slagging the EIHL off here, Patrick. I just think that the level that we've been playing at the last 3 or 4 games away in Finland, Austria, and then obviously against Bolzano the weekend before last in Belfast, and we've come down from that and taken that step down from the level that we've been playing at. It's probably tough to try and get back again. I thought the Friday night we dominated. Yes, we give a couple of goals. Yes, we're short on bodies. I'm not taking any of those as excuses. When you look at the whole, of little scrums and wasting time with penalties. I mean, some of the penalties that were called on Friday night's game were beyond me. I've just had a commentators meeting with Luke Fisher and Mike Hicks and all the other commentators around the league, so I'm not allowed to get stuck into the referees at the minute. But
that's on commentary, Simon. This is a view from the bridge.
That's very true. It's when you look at some of the decisions. I mean, David was emailing me texting me on Friday night because I was out, and he was telling me about some things that were being called, and it was a wee bit bizarre. But look, and in fairness, the officials were on pre-season form as well, even though they usually continue throughout the year. But the big thing for me was Friday night was that I get the legs moving. People say that it's about staying fit and getting guys together and what have you for pre-season. You still want to win. You genuinely still want to win. Winning becomes a habit. Losing becomes a habit. When you look at the 4 pre-season games we played this year, we've lost 3 of them. 2 against Cardiff, 1 against Glasgow, which obviously the Saturday game, and we won the Friday game against Glasgow in Braehead. So, look, for me, it's about trying to get ready for this weekend, which is Friday night against Dundee. It's not ideal with the way things turned out on Friday evening. Saturday evening, obviously, and missing bodies, guys getting hurt when we were there, and the likes of Sean Norris and Mark Garside missing, Mark Cooper obviously not being able to make a trip, and a few other guys as well. But we got through it. It's done and dusted, and now the focus is all about Friday evening against Dundee in the Challenge Cup.
I'll bring up a few of the highlights from Saturday just here in a second. But there's a comment there, David from Kevin Madden, saying goal pegs are in pre-season form.
Listen, this is something you'll see a lot over the next 3-4 weeks, whatever, because we'll be primarily Glasgow, Dundee, Fife. Slightly different peg setup around the rinks. I think me and Simon talked about it the other day, especially in Scotland. You can't have the drilled in ones like you have in the Odyssey because of the curling that goes on in some of the rinks in Scotland. I didn't for 1 minute think Jackson Whistle kicked the pegs off. I really didn't. It's called. I think he's actually gone across. He's on a penalty kill as it is. He's gone across. He's scrambling. He's feeling like, I'm not a goaltender, so I'm only imagining. I've talked to goalies, and when I played in line, the boys were always talking about that they use the posts to push off, to get forward. If you're going backwards, you need something to stop you going backwards to go forwards. The post is it. And good goalies will know exactly where the post is, and he's kicked that leg out and pushed himself off to go forward for a save. The posts have come off. You can sneeze sometimes. The posts come off in Scotland, and that's just because of the setup. Jackson makes that exact same play on Saturday night in the Odyssey. The post stays on. He makes exactly the same play. I don't have my notebook in front of me, but I was sitting making notes in the game, and I've left them downstairs. 24-16 or something into the second period. And he's made exactly the same play, the left or right across the net for somebody coming in for the left circle for the one-timer, and he's coming across, going backwards to forwards, and he's kicked out and pushed off the post, and it stayed on. Different setup with pegs in Belfast. So you're going to get them. I thought it was a really, really harsh call, and unfortunately for us, I think we then conceded on that power play. It is what it is. You'll see the pegs coming off a lot in the next few weeks. They're notoriously... Is it Fife? They're really, really bad, or is it Dundee? I can't remember which one's worse.
Fife.
But Fife.
Always Scotland.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not sure. So when I was playing, they had there was like a little nub at the bottom of the nets that a lot of the teams around the UK had, and it literally, you sort of just lifted the net and dunked it down, and that was your net. That was your that was it for the game itself, and those nets were better than what they are now. Now, I'm not sure I think I was speaking to Jason Ellery the other day about this, and he was telling me some of the rinks have like a magnet at the bottom of the post, but they also have a magnet in the ice. It looks to me like that's what's happening in Glasgow, and the magnet is probably it's upside down or back to front. It doesn't work. It's really bizarre which way it all comes together. And even Fife, Shane Owen and Fife. Every single season, we've complained about him kicking the posts off. So it was no different last year in Glasgow or the year before. And it just so happens, I'm pretty sure that we weren't the first. Jackson wasn't the first goalie to kick it off the other night. And he got the penalty for
it. What we're going to do, well, you know what, when it comes to these games, I'm so unenthused about, it's not usually I'm unenthused about Belfast Giants games, but even coming off the back of these, I was so unenthused about these games because I just didn't feel it, they didn't get me up for, because I think this Friday I'm excited and I'm looking forward to it, but these 2 games, they were what they were. The Belfast Giants took on the Glasgow Clan, 1-1, lost 1, and we move on. You get the highlights if you want to watch them. They are on YouTube from both the Clan and Giants TV. Mr. Kitchen popped down to training as he just enjoys doing, and he had a chat with Tyler Bescarowani, Kieran Long, and Sean Norris.
Whenever you're ready, like.
I guess I'll stand up.
What?
I guess I'll stand up.
I don't mind. Weekend games, you got 2 games in a row off.
obviously to rest the body of a tough start to the season.
Yeah, it felt good to get a bit of rest and fix a little bit of bumps and bruises that may have come along the way. Ready to get going here this weekend.
Jackson played the 2 games against the Glasgow. Obviously the winning Friday night, lost on Saturday night. But it's great to have 2 goaltenders that you can compete with, and obviously you're backing up there on Friday night as well.
For sure.
It's going to be a long season.
Yeah, it is. It's like you said, it's good to have 2 solid goalies, and you know what, having Dicko there as well, just to help out with practices and team morale. And if we need him in the games, I think we're fairly confident that he can do a job. So as far as Wiss this past weekend, he played really well. He gave the team a chance to win on Saturday, and a couple bad breaks there on Friday. He could have easily been a shutout for him.
This weekend we're back to Challenge Cup action. Dundee Stars Friday at home, Saturday away. Boys look as if they're Monday morning they're getting round to go, and looking forward to the weekend.
Yeah, a little bit of a sweat today, and a bit of fun for the guys. Hasn't been a very easy start to the year with all the travel and all the games that we've had going on, and so a little bit of decompression here for the guys is a good thing to get the year going, and I think everybody's ready to go.
Here we go again, take 6. Hopefully no interruptions this time. Weekend, Kieran, against the Glasgow Clan, Friday night away, Saturday night home. What's your thoughts on the weekend?
Yeah, Friday was a good game for the boys. Came out hot in the first period, kind of took it to them and carried that pressure on through the second and third period. Saturday, can't have any excuses, but yeah, we were short on bodies, but I think we could have tightened up a little bit defensively. I also think Glasgow obviously wanted it a little bit more than us, just to finish their pre-season with a win. It was a good little wake-up call as well to lose that game, to coming into next weekend to show the boys that we have to be ready for both games, kind of show up in one night and then expect it to be an easy night the next.
And I know the mindset of the team is to win every trophy we're in for. They start this weekend against Dundee. You already got 2 Challenge Cup trophies and medals in the bag, but they're done. Dundee Friday night is the next challenge. You must be looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely. And Kiefer gets on us at the start every year, and it's for the new boys coming in, it's a little bit weird, but these games are huge for getting a home ice advantage in the cup. It's been crucial for us to play in front of a sellout crowd, and that's obviously helped us win 2 trophies.
Saturday night away to Dundee again, so we're not really worried about that one at the minute. Obviously, you've already touched on, we picked up a few injuries in the last few weeks. Monday morning, you're getting prepared for Friday night's game, and a couple of bodies back.
Yeah, a couple of bodies back. Today's been it was fun skating this morning, just to get the legs going until we put the hard work in tomorrow. A little bit of a gym session now too, but it's nice to get these bodies back and get rolling on Friday.
Who won, white or teal?
Oh, white, teal were awful.
Thank you very much, Kieran.
You're welcome.
It's been a long day. What are you asking me?
We're still going.
Hey?
We're still going, Sean. Weekend, 2 games against Glasgow.
Yeah.
I picked up a knock on Friday night. Obviously missed Saturday. How are you feeling?
Feeling good, feeling better. It was just a slight tear in the hamstring, but it can be repaired pretty quickly. Just try to get the legs going today and hopefully back next weekend.
Good man. Obviously, you played a game Friday night with a 5-2 win against Glasgow. What was your thoughts on that game?
I think we dominated. I think we come out hard, especially coming from the CHL. That pace is just completely different. We have to be quick at everything we do: passing, skating, shooting. So when we come there, we had a lot of possession, which was nice for the boys, and I think we dominated from the first puck drop.
Saturday's game, you would have obviously watched it in Saturday's game. Obviously coming out the wrong end of a 3-1 scoreline, Glasgow picking up the win. Everybody keeps on saying pre-season games, it's good to you want to win. You want to win every game you play.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it brings you into the season. It brings you in the season with a positive mindset of winning. If guys are struggling to score, struggling to play the way they want to play, pre-season's where you want to be, scoring goals, taking wins and taking that into the season.
your first full season stepping up the EIHL level. Looking forward to getting it off and running on Friday against Dundee.
I am buzzing, yes. I'm going to do as much rehab as I can on this knee this week, but I'm confident I'll be ready to go on Friday, and I know this arena's going to be packed out, so yeah, the boys are ready to go and I'm buzzing.
Obviously, you picked up a winner's medal in the Challenge Cup last year, along with 2 others. It's a short career. It's, a lot of guys, if they get a chance to play in their 30s, are still only 26 last week, 24 last week.
24.
So still a long way to go on that.
Yeah.
But it must be, again, it's something in the back of your mind. You want to pick up another trophy this year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as soon as the season finishes, you got to go again. And if I'm honest, for me personally, you're just as hungry. You want to keep that trophy here. You want to keep their medals, and you want to keep building it up. Like you said, it's a short career, so you want to be winning as much as you possibly can.
Good man. Thanks, Sean.
Big thanks to Tyler, Kieran, and to Sean. Right, on we go. Time for the fan agenda, brought to you by our good friends at Belfast Giants TV, and we are delighted to welcome back on to A View from the Bridge the captain of your Belfast Giants. That's Marc Cooper. How you doing, mate?
Good. How you doing, guys?
Doing really well. Obviously, you weren't part of what happened at the weekend, but looking back, how are you feeling going into what is the opening games of the Challenge Cup against Dundee this weekend?
I think extremely excited. I really like our group, and I like how we've played in every game, minus maybe Tapera. Like, I think we've been in every game. It's been close, and had a chance to win, I think, all those games. So I really like where we're at. I like the group Keeper's put together. I think we're really coming together well, minus a few injuries. I think we have a really solid group, and I think everyone's super excited to get things rolling.
Patrick?
You freeze there?
Sorry, my internet dropped out there, boys. I was just sending you a text message on WhatsApp. Sorry, David, take it from there.
Oh, you want me to go? Sorry, Paddy, I would have jumped in there, but I thought you were just like pausing. There was a dramatic pause here for what you were going to say next. Marc, I've been talking sort of every guy that we've had on this season asked a similar type of question about happiness, and that how important is having that happiness away from the rink and what it brings to the rink. And obviously little tiny things like having Guinness every single day. People, if you want to explain that in more depth.
Yeah.
But just the importance of being happy, a happy player away from the rink makes a happy player on the ice.
Yeah, for sure. I think a hockey season is extremely stressful, so you need to escape it mentally as much as you can. Especially the format of the EIHL is every game's magnitude is just that much more important. So the mental grind's definitely there. But yeah, so my girlfriend and I got a puppy over the summer, and he's been keeping me sane and getting me outdoors as much as possible. So yeah, happiness away from the rink is extremely important, and I think all the guys' girlfriends, wives, or fiancés do a great job letting us escape and enjoy our happiness away from the rink. So it's huge, and I think that's part of why we've been so successful the last 2 years. Kiefer really preaches that.
Talk to me, Marc, about stress. So it would be easy from a fan's perspective to just think this is a game. You guys are the luckiest guys in the world. You are playing a game for a living that we'd all love. I said often, we'd love to do it, but we're not good enough. You represent this great city. You represent us. But the stress, who was it, Paddy, talked about the dog days? Was it Jordan Boucher a couple of seasons ago? About whenever you get into that grind where you've came through Christmas and then you've still got 20, maybe 30 games to go. And it's like, it has to weigh on you hard, that on mentally as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think you can see it in the league. Like the last couple of years, I think teams really fall off towards the end of the year, just because you can see the fatigue setting in. And I think you got to just approach every day as a new day, and take the little wins when you can, and just try and get better every day. Like the dog days going to Dundonald in January, February, they're definitely not as bright as the SSE but I think ultimately it comes down to like every Friday or Saturday when we play at home, our crowd is buzzing, and we kind of look forward to that every week, especially when we're at the practice rink and when practice is tough. It's all about putting a good performance in on the weekend and playing in front of our fans.
Mark, Simon Kitchen, big fan.
Hey Simon, nice to meet you.
And you. Obviously we all know you're captain now. I know there's some of the fans are asking how did that come about? How did you get the news? But obviously it's your third year in Belfast. You've picked up 5 trophies. You've watched David Gubin going into the middle of the rink and all wherever arena we picked the trophy up at, and then laughing at the sky. And you've got that responsibility now on your shoulders to hopefully be able to do that towards the end of the season as well. How does that make you feel? And I know your mum and dad are super proud of you as well.
Yeah, no. When I got word that I'd be captain, I was extremely humbled and really excited to grasp the opportunity. I lived with David my first year here, and then last year we hung out a bunch and roomed together on the road. He was a great leader. I learned a lot from him, and I think I can bring my own little flavor on it. And I'm just extremely excited about the opportunity of just being the captain of this great franchise, but also about the potential of lifting trophies for the guys and the team and the city. It's extremely exciting, and I can't wait to see what this season brings.
And when you look back at last year, and everybody, all the fans are still, I know we're treble champions, we're this, that, and the other. And yes, we are, absolutely. But that's now gone, and everything, all the focus starts. Yes, we've had the CHL, and we've still got a couple of games to go in the CHL. Yes, we've had our warm-up games, and don't like calling them friendlies, but warm-up games.
Yeah.
But Friday, Dundee in Belfast, and it's going to kick off the season with the opportunity to get back to Belfast for another Challenge Cup final, because as you pass that knowledge on to the new group, just how important it is in these games in the middle of September?
Yeah, I think everyone, I think, is quite aware of the league format and the 3 trophies that are up for grab and how to get there. But I think the 2 documentaries of the last 2 years are always playing somewhat in the room, and those home games obviously mean a lot. So I think the guys know that home ice advantage is extremely important. I think 2 years ago against Cardiff, I think it was pretty much the reason we won that game. The crowd kept us buzzing. We were down. Our energy wasn't great. And then they just kept screaming and yelling, and we got 1 goal, and then it kind of went from there. But no, I think everyone's extremely excited and knows how important these games are, and know how important every game is.
Going to take one of the questions from the people watching in. Chris Revel, having played at such a high level in the CHL, is it difficult to adjust to domestic games?
I wouldn't say it's difficult. I think sometimes you'll have these teams come into our arena that don't play in as big arenas like Glasgow or like Dundee this weekend, and they'll get excited about our crowd and they'll bring an energy that we might have not seen from the CHL. But I think overall, I think we're just going to approach it the same way, and try to get after them early and get the crowd into it. And I think that's kind of where we're at. And once we're in domestic competition, I think a game's a game, and everyone's just ready to compete and have fun.
One from Alan Brett. He says, how did you find out you'd been made captain?
So this summer I had a few chats with Kiefer, and I think he mentioned that I was probably the first candidate, but I'm sure he wanted to see me and make sure I didn't get too out of shape over summer before anything. So I didn't hear anything until I showed up. But no, he told me the morning they announced it that we're going to announce the captains today, and I knew it then, and I was extremely humbled, like I said earlier, and ready to grasp the opportunity.
One last question from me is, what is it that you think qualifies you to be the captain? What do you bring to the room that is the reason why you're wearing the C right now?
I think for myself, it's just an everyday approach. I try to approach practice games the same way, whether that be a mental or physical warm-up. I feel like the guys see that and respect that. Also, just being able to chime in when needed to talk. I would say I'm a more lead by example captain than a rah guy, and then additionally just trying to bring it every day on the ice and play with passion and pride and excitement every day and try to get better every time I step on the ice.
Mark, we were just talking yesterday, just one for me to close, Paddy. That last season, very first game of the season, away in Cardiff in the exhibition game, the game was won by an empty net game-winning goal from, can you remember who got that?
Yeah, I think I did.
Yeah, and the season was rounded out. So the first game of the season was won by a Mark Cooper empty net goal against Cardiff, and the last game of the season was rounded out with an empty net grand slam winning goal from Mark Cooper. So if I can have another one of those for May Day, mate, that'd be really appreciated.
Yeah. I'll look for an empty netter. Maybe one with a goalie in it too, but we'll see.
Fantastic. Well, listen, Mark, we really appreciate you coming on, joining us. Congratulations on being made captain. We look forward to seeing you on the ice this coming weekend against the Dundee Stars. And thanks, mate.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah.
Big thanks to Marc Cooper for his time. Good to see him. Just briefly before we move on, we talk about Mark and about how he puts so much in regards to this side. David and our good friend Neil Russell calls him the MVP. When you look at the side, I wasn't surprised that he was made captain.
He just does everything on and off the ice that you'd want a leader to do. He goes to the dirty areas. He's made that sort of little area just off the side of the net on the power play his own where they try and get it down low, and he's cutting in front on it. He came up with some massive goals last season. It's not even goals and assists, it's just little things he does during a game, especially in games where we're maybe not playing as well as we could, or games where we're up against it. He's the guy that sometimes just steps and puts everybody on his back and sort of like, follow me. So absolute really solid call for captain. I really hope that in years to come, when Mark's back visiting Belfast with his wife and kids, as it'll be in days to come, that his portrait is in that captain's corridor, hoisting a trophy. Because if anybody, and I know we get close to some players, if anybody ever deserves to, as a captain, lift a trophy for this club, it's that guy. He just epitomises what it means to be a Giant and to have that C on his chest. Congratulations to him. Well deserved.
Absolutely. Right, let's move it on. If you were keeping an eye on the Elite League website, you've seen that the league has introduced a brand new system with regards to statistics, logging more time on ice, new graphics, XG. So we had the opportunity to chat with, who else? But by the way, David, it's back.
Somebody's fixed the machine.
We had the opportunity to chat with the media and communications manager for the Elite League. That is, of course, Luke Fisher.
And welcome in the fridge, Mr. Fisher. It's been a little while, mate.
It's been a very long time. I think not since we came back from COVID, maybe.
So here we go. They say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. We're going into our third post-COVID season, stronger than ever when you look at numbers in pre-season, numbers coming off the back end of last season as well. You must be pretty happy with where the league sits at the minute.
Yeah, like really happy. I think a lot of the growth and the effort that our teams have been putting in over the past few seasons since we came back from COVID is really sort of counted. You always expect those games at the end of the season that, as the games mean more the further into the season you have bigger crowds, but we're starting to see that actually a lot of teams are almost getting up a lot earlier. Cardiff are almost selling out their building from the beginning of the season. And more it's not like this big thing where it comes up in January, it goes down again, and then it comes back up towards the end of the season. You're seeing more and more that actually teams' averages are very high. And like last year to go over 1 million spectators again, like for only the second time ever, second season back after COVID. And also, it was 9 teams had an increase in their average attendance. And the only one that didn't was Sheffield, which is the biggest. And they were the average was like 10 short from the previous season. So effectively everyone's grown, and that's really good.
What are you putting it down to? Product?
I think it's we should really say that teams do an awful lot of amount to grow their own businesses and their brands in their own cities. Like you guys know what the Giants are doing in Belfast to, this whole Giant Night Out campaign, which comes up a lot of the time on social media to really push the whole night out. Manchester, Dundee, that now in Glasgow as well, doing huge jobs to really promote those sort of game night experiences. And I think that's another thing. Like look at Sheffield in their preseason. I mean, 9,000 and 6,000 for preseason games. The whole game night experience there. People, we joke about the intro going on for so long, but the whole show that you get, and everyone's gradually getting there with those things. I think someone said it at the fixtures meeting in the summer that they'd lost more games at home than normal from one of the teams, but people the match night experience was so good that actually the results weren't as important for a lot of the newer fans that are coming, because they're coming for that entertainment. And that's going back to the fan survey. That's effectively what we learned, is that people view coming to a hockey game as buying an entertainment product.
Yeah, well, I know that Robert Fitzpatrick has talked for a number of years about, say, let's call the Belfast Giants model. We're on a Belfast Giants podcast about, we're getting 6,000 in, or give or take most games. I'm not exactly sure of the number. Let's say 1,500 to 2,000 are season ticket holders. Then you've got your 1,000 that are like completely invested in the team, that come to as many games as they can. And then you've got your couple of thousand of walk-ups, or people that are just making a night out. So half your crowd aren't really Belfast Giants fans yet. Obviously, you're trying to grow that bottom base, and that's where you get those steady crowds. But like the guys are out there. It's not so much, I know the social media guys and all are absolutely brilliant, but it's the digital billboards around city centres. It's getting out there into workplaces and spreading the message, and even just taking those trophies around and being visible in the city.
It's everything, and it's also working out what works for your market, because what works in Belfast might not necessarily work in Glasgow or in Dundee. And I know from talking to the guys in Manchester, I think they've been doing quite a lot of targeted social media adverts, and they found that actually really works for them. So they've continued with that. So I think teams have, some of them really honed in on what works and really gone for it. And I think they're seeing the results of it. Plus, I think you can't underestimate the level of the product as well. Last year's league table at different parts of the league table was very tight. And when you're going into games and it is completely unknown what's going to happen, that obviously helps sell tickets as well.
Well, we've talked about the excitement of what could happen on a game night. Obviously, you've made some changes around, little changes within the game night experience, both for coaching staff and for fans. You want to give a little bit of an explanation of what we're really here to talk about tonight?
Yeah, so the season that we got interrupted by COVID and never finished, that 2019-20, we had brought in a completely revamped website, back-end statistics system, registration system and everything. And that really took us a level on, with the shot maps, the face-off things that we weren't logging before. And from the back end, made life an awful lot easier for how we deal with like league administration. But now we've gone one further. We have time on ice for this season live, which is something I've wanted to do for ages. We had some access to some time on ice last year that wasn't live, and it wasn't, I would say, wholly accurate because it was coming in remotely. But doing it in the arena is the only way you can see if a guy goes for a change when the camera's moved. There's no better way than doing that. So I'm very excited about that one, because that's a really good number. Just that you see it in the game, you see who's played loads of shifts. You can see then over the course of the season who's consistently logging. And I think you can also see progression. Like, there are going to be some young players that will start the season with low time on ice. Where are they by the end of it? How much do they earn from their performances? Like, look at some of the Dundee kids this weekend. Marc LeFebvre is probably going to have a hard time not giving them ice time in the season if they're scoring goals. So to see that kind of journey build is also quite cool. So the time on ice is great. We've also got the updated shot maps to give more of the heat map, which is a really good visual representation of what's going on. I like to see the individual goals or shots or things like that, but actually the heat map kind of gives you the stress of where the weak points are, I guess. And then there's the XG, which is completely new, really. Not many leagues in Europe have this. CHL has it. You'll know from your XG and your expected win percentages against some of the CHL teams. This is cool. XG is cool, and it's gonna take a little bit of time to develop because we have players that have been in the league for a season, players that have been in the league for 6 seasons, some who are completely new. So to sort of make that calculation is going to take a little bit of honing as the season goes in. But I think that's kind of cool. Like, you're going to, before a game, you're going to get an expected goals per team. And if you look at the data that we had for last year's playoff final with the XG, it was almost bang on. It was something like 4 and a bit for Belfast and 1 and a bit for Cardiff. And I don't think it's going to be bang on every time. But it was just very interesting when we saw that plugged in. It's like, oh, that was really accurate, actually.
Well, you know, I love, that's sad, bit of a nerd, love doing the stats. And it's something like, remember, for many years, standing with my notepad, doing face-off statistics, you know, offensive zone, defensive, neutral, and it takes away the pencil and paper, and it gives you, I guess the advantage for coaching staff is at the end of a period, they're able to look straight away. Yeah. They're able to see who's carrying too much load here. We might, if we're winning, he doesn't need to play 27 minutes tonight. He can, you know, have a few shifts off or whatever. But so, bit of investment from the league in that as well, but a lot of volunteerism around the league is going to need to go in to manage that as well.
Yeah, there's quite heavy investment from our side in this, but in terms of the actual resources, yes. So we needed each team, off-ice team, to grab some extra people for off-ice. So Belfast, because you've had to do things like this for CHL, less of a problem. Cardiff the same, and a couple of other teams sort of already had quite big crews off-ice. Some teams didn't, so they've had to expand those, and that's, you know, a lot of hard work that's gone into it that we really appreciate from everyone across the league for that. Because it can only be as good as, you know, everyone is prepared to make it. But something we saw when we were meeting with the off-ice crews a few weeks ago was actually everyone's pretty excited about this one. There wasn't really the feeling of, oh, so it's more stuff, blah, blah, blah. Everyone's like, oh, no, this is cool because you can see it, and you can see it immediately, and you can see what it means, and you can see how shots, fine, you got the heat maps, but now you can see that actually impacts your XG, and everything is kind of connected in. And we have some things that we're prepping for web streams and jumbotrons that will also bring a bit more of this to life for fans and for people in the arena as well. And I think that also helps when you can see that what you're doing actually has like real world impact there and then at the end of the period, and it's up there, or you see the coach on the tablet actually tracking it, because a lot of them were asking when we were testing in preseason, they wanted the links for the time on ice. They wanted to see it for their team and for the team they were about to play. That's the other thing. It's the pre-scout is quite big on that one.
And we'll come back to those stats later on in the season. Have a little, you know, revisit and see how that's all going for you. Another guy formerly of this parish, somebody that we talked about a few weeks ago, that probably helped elevate the podcast from a couple of guys in their bedroom to a semi decent product. Mark Brooks, you've noticed what he did with the Belfast Giants, and you've came in with that multi-million-pound deal for him.
Yeah. Really good. I'm just really happy. Like, I obviously, when Mark was working for the Giants, we had quite a lot to do with each other from league side and Giants side. But actually now working with him, it's quite cool when we're on the phone to each other and talking about different things. And I think his passion for hockey, no one can doubt that. And his passion for selling hockey and promoting hockey and wanting to make it bigger. And I think it's really positive that he's here. You know, it's not easy, and he only came in at the start of August. So I think realistically, a lot of what he does is probably more geared towards next season. You know, trying to sell a season in 6 weeks is not easy. But I think it's hugely positive that we have him on board and to actually have someone now dedicated to doing this, because before other people would sort of do bits and bobs, but they're focused on running their team quite rightly running their team. So to have someone now that can follow things up or go and make approaches, and again, everyone that filled out the fan survey, we're very grateful to you for that, because Marc now has a huge amount of data to start with that actually before last March we didn't have. We didn't know a lot about our fan base apart from some online statistics or season ticket holder statistics. And now he's got quite a good breakdown of the demographics of the fan base that he can start looking at when we talk to potential sponsors.
I suppose this comes back to almost like where we were starting, and we're saying the product's improving. Not that there's a split from the 10 teams still run the league, but you've got Michael in the background, you've got yourself now, Marc. There's a team away from the teams themselves running the league as well.
Yeah, and I think that's good, because actually for some of the key people that were, owners that were also helping to run the league, it means they can actually concentrate on running their teams. And ultimately that's where it should be. Like, I think if you're owning one team, the same way you employ staff in your own organization, you want people to come to you and say, can we do this? Or what do you think about this? And run ideas past. And that's now what we can actually start doing, rather than the league being, okay, in someone's almost spare time, which I think is probably what it was 10 or so years ago, long time before me. But I find it very positive like that. It's nowhere near when I meet people from other leagues and they have, 15 staff or something. But I think you have to keep stuff relative and also think, where was it 2018 when I came in? And we sat a season out. That's also the really important thing. We sat a whole season out, and actually we've come back from that with bigger crowds. So I think everything together is just very positive.
Well, then, to wrap it up and a nice little, put a little bow on top, a little message maybe for the fans, for those that are just maybe about to press that button on Twitter, or X as it's called now. Just before you press it, Luke Fisher wants to put something in your head.
Please be nice to each other. Come on. I think people are, how to say that? I noticed when Threads came, and the merits and not of Threads is a completely different topic, but Threads pretty much made you use a username and a photo because it was tied to your Instagram. And immediately it was a lot more of a positive platform. Because it's new, but also it just was, because you were associated with it. And it's very easy when you don't have to have a photo, you don't have to have your name, it's just an alias you're using to just... But come on, we're all excited for the start of the season. We're all super happy and enthusiastic. I don't really think we need to fight with each other, especially not in preseason. I think if everyone could just play nicely with each other online, because we all want the same thing, right? We all want to see tight games. We all want to see really good. We'd all love it if all the rinks were full. Absolutely, we would all love it if every single game was like that. So, yeah, just be nice to each other. And I could say a lot more about it, but maybe I shouldn't.
And enjoy your hockey, of course.
That's it. Enjoy the hockey. Whether you're watching it online, whether you're watching it in the rink, enjoy the hockey, enjoy the atmosphere. Enjoy that people are actually doing what they love. And whether that's actually the players, but also a lot of the off-ice people, the people behind your team's social media account, it's not their fault if you lose. And they're also, trying to do what they love and trying to help the team as much as they can. So just, be nice, be happy and enjoy it.
Oh, we know we get some cracking tweets to AVFTB for things that have gone wrong. But listen, look, let's get half a dozen games or weeks into the season, have you back on for a little chat, see how it's all started, how your stats system's going, and all the best, and thanks for your time tonight.
Thank you. Would love to. Enjoy the rest of the night. Bye-bye.
A big thanks to Luke Fisher for his time. It's big thanks to Luke Fisher for his time, and I had a quick look through that statistics program, and it's really interesting. I stuck a link up in the notes there with the comments to sort of point out the playoff final from last season, and he's right about Davy about how much it tied in with what took place in the ice.
Yeah, stats are what stats are. At the end of the day, they're there to be interpreted and they're to be used if you can use them. And we've had Steve Thornton. We've talked about these things for many, many years. It's all about finding a little tiny of margin of advantage over your competition and what's a fairly, party league in terms of ability on some nights. So if you can just find that little 1% advantage over your opponent from your pre-scout, just a little weakness in a goaltender, a tendency, a defensive system, a very good man to chat about this, obviously upcoming. But that's all we're looking for is fine margins.
Yeah, we're going to come to him in just a second. We just want to ask you a question, Simon. Is this something that you might use during games?
I use Davy stats during games.
Fair enough.
More accurate.
Fair enough.
No, look, we had literally before we come on the AVFTB tonight. I was on with all the other commentators around the league, Luke and Mike Hicks, and fair play to them. They've basically invested in what to make the product better for both in arena and on any webcast that fans want to watch. So if they manage to get everything pulled together, it should be very, very handy. And having all that information at your fingertips at the end of a period is very, very good as well. So yeah, hopefully wish them all the best, both the on ice officials and the off ice officials, and we'll see where we go to it this year.
Absolutely right. The Belfast Giants returned to Challenge Cup action, looking to defend the Challenge Cup that they won as part of the treble of last season. And their first up is the Dundee Stars, and they've got a new head coach, a returning head coach, and a man who I'm pleased to say is back on this show. He hasn't been on since 2017. He is the original friend of the show. It's Marc LeFebvre. How are you doing, mate?
Save the best for last, eh, boys? So
as always.
Oh, it's great. It's good to be back. See you guys, and it's great to be back in the league. So I'm looking forward to Friday night.
You've obviously been in France at Chamonix the last couple of years. How's the return to Dundee come about?
It's like returning home, to be honest with you. Nothing much has changed. Obviously, the club's got a bigger framework inside the city. You see the crowds are up, more sponsorship, just more professional overall. And you can see that, I think, across the league. It's nice to see. So the league's always evolving, and you want to have a strong league overall. And I think the name of the league is getting better across Europe. So that's always great to see.
And what sort of coaches come back? Is it a different Marc LeFebvre that's come back from the one that went in 2017?
Yeah, I think a more mature one. I just think overall, from the X's and O's to man management, just everything's gotten better. I've seen a lot of things over in other leagues, whether it was an East Coast league, work with the National Hockey League teams, working in Denmark, and then working in France. You just see different things and different professionalisms and how they handle things. And I've tried to put that into my own coaching philosophy and obviously bring that to Dundee.
Welcome back, Coach. It's really lovely to have you back on AVFTB. It's been too long. But looking at France v what you're going to be having here in Dundee, the last couple of years it's been pretty much European rosters, a few Finnish guys, mostly Europeans, a few Hungarians. I don't know whether that feeds back into your own time in the Hungarian leagues, but back into Dundee with a much more North American style of hockey.
Yeah, well, in France, I had no say on any players. The GM and the assistant GM, they signed the whole team. Hence, we only had 2 North Americans in the 2 years I was there. So, being a North American coach and trying to get, Finnish guys, Swedish guys, Russians, Czechs, all on the same page to play a North American style is a little bit tough. But, I want to have full control of my roster again. And Dundee's definitely provided that. So that's why we've gone with the North American style roster. And you see that across our league anyways. It's mostly teams that mostly North Americans. So we're no different.
And then you're saying, obviously, the setup in France is slightly different. Back in Dundee, not only head coach, head of hockey ops as well. Is that something that you've been looking forward to getting into?
Yeah, eventually I want to move away from coaching. Obviously, I love it, but eventually I want to get into the upper management role, whether it's a director of scouting or a GM role. And I really enjoy building my teams, something I really enjoyed in the past and something I wanted to get back to, or something I never got to do in Denmark and in France especially. So this was part of it, more moving into an operations role as well.
Coach, when you look around the league in the EIHL, all the teams in my opinion, they've all basically seemed to have got better this summer, which is what you expect because the league's got better over the last few years. But the backbone of every team in the EIHL is their British players, and you've got some really good young players. I really like young Jonathan McBean. Craig Gargan gives it all every time he's on the ice. Chris Ingles and Craig Moore. You must be happy with when I say British, I take that a little bit and tighten it in for Dundee because those kids most of them are local as well.
Yeah, we don't have the luxury of going out and getting kids from down south or in in the Midlands or anything like that. So we have to have a lot of the locally homegrown players. So and you see Johnny McBean, he's the skill set's there. I mean, he's only 19 years old, but he's just going to keep getting better, playing with imports, being in a professional environment. For me, I think he can be on the national team in a few years. Craig Garrigan, he's a good, hard-nosed player. He's not overly skilled on the offensive side of things, but he got 2 goals on Saturday, so maybe I'm wrong on that. But, he's definitely going to provide, some tenacity towards our lineup. And obviously, Morsey and Ingy, I had before my first time around in Dundee. So I've seen their development grow over the years, and it's good to see now they develop into more mature players. And they're only in their mid-20s, so I still think the best is yet to come with those guys.
We touched on obviously what you've been doing the last couple of years. It's all about this Friday. Coming back in to make your second debut as a coach as the Dundee Stars against the Belfast Giants in Belfast. What sort of challenge are you expecting from the Giants on Friday night?
Well, I know you guys set the benchmark for the league last year for everybody, where all the other 9 clubs want to get to, winning every trophy available. You see the stand-up players that Kiefer brings in and Thorts bring in. We want to get to that level as well. So it's a good challenge to see where we're at on Friday night and see where we can improve as well. But hopefully we want to win, obviously. But they've set the standard for the league.
Let me just quickly ask you about the side that you put together. You talked about putting this side together and having the opportunity to do so. One of the signings that really raised an eyebrow is the return of Kevin Carr to the league. Did so well with the Nottingham Panthers, but also went back and played ECHL. Has been in Norway last year or so. But he's a guy who's a top level goalkeeper in this league. He's going to win you a lot of games.
Yeah, I mean, you look at his pedigree. He's led the league in shutouts a few years ago with Nottingham. That was one of the tougher signings to get across the line because he had some other offers. Not just in our league, but in other leagues across Europe as well. And fortunately for us, he's come to Dundee, and expect big things from. You need goaltending to win. I don't care where you're at. You guys have Besco and Wessel in that there, and you see other top quality goalies across the league, so you need that to win. And Kevin's no different.
Sorry, David, just one more for me is the fact that one of the other names that stands out is your captain in Dryden Dow. He's a fixture in Dundee now.
Yeah, he's a Dundonian, basically. I wish he was counted as a British player, so we have another import. But he's a great 2-way defenseman. Really helps our power play on the offensive end of things, on the defensive back end. And he's just a great leader off the ice. It was a no-brainer for me to bring him back as a captain as well. So he's really helped me out quite a bit in transitioning and coming back. And what's new since I've been gone since the last time. So he's definitely great to work with.
Coach, KPIs, key performance indicators. If we spoke to Jeff Hutchins probably around the last time and he talked about the realism of Dundee probably aren't going to win a Grand Slam. Okay, you just go out every night to try and win every game, and that's what every team will set up to do. Have you got realistic targets in your sight? Is it getting through the Challenge Cup group? Is it qualifying for the playoffs, or is it shorter stints than that? Is it seeing where you're at the end of September, seeing if you need to make changes, look at it again at Halloween? What's the sort of the mindset going into the season?
Well, for us, it's to make it that top 8 for the playoffs. Anything can happen in our league. You get hot for 2 weekends and you're a playoff champion.
Yeah.
Big thing for us is really get into the challenge group, into the final 8, because I think it's such a dress rehearsal for our guys to see how the playoffs work in that 120-minute game aggregate score. So it's important for us to qualify the top 8 in both of those. And you never know, miracles happen, right? Leicester City won the Premiership in soccer, in football. Not saying it would be a miracle if we won, but everybody expects seeing 4 or 5 clubs that compete at the top of the league all year. But for us, realistically, making to the playoffs top 8 and in the Challenge Cup top 8, and then anything can happen from there.
Simon,
nothing further. Well, listen, on that note,
we love the
really good to see you back.
We would love to have what you guys are doing right now in Champions League and Continental Cup and everything like that. So I mean, winning playoffs might go a long way to doing that. And but I see you guys are getting a great experience this year playing in the Champions League. So I think every team in our league should be striving for that, because I think it just gives our league a bigger name in Europe. And you see the results that you guys have had. You beat Bolzano, you pushed Innsbruck to the end there, and you had a couple other good results against the other big clubs. So I think it makes our league look a lot better, because I think if teams decline to go I think it should be mandatory. Every team, if they're qualified for Europe, they should be mandated to go no matter what. And the way you guys have performed, it just makes our league look a lot better. It looks a little more attractive to players that are playing in Europe right now as well.
One last question.
Sorry, Pat, I'm going to jump across you there. Is that how big of a factor is that for a player coming to Dundee, that there's an opportunity? I really don't want to be disparaging here, Coach, and I'm not trying to be. The likelihood of Dundee playing in Champions Hockey League next season is quite small in comparison to perhaps one of the other 5 teams that you mentioned, because I'm not just going to say it's Belfast only. But the likelihood is the winners of the league will probably come out of that chunk of 5 teams. How does the Belfast being in the Champions Hockey League help you recruit players?
Well, I think just performance-wise, like I said, your results that you've had so far, it makes the league is like, okay, well, this team's doing so well in Europe. How are the other teams in the league? They must do well as also, and they must be tough teams and good teams as well to be on. So it just showcases our league overall. So I think everybody has to work together and making sure teams do well in Europe as well, and just makes puts a spotlight in our league.
One final question from me, Coach, before we wrap it up, is that you're back after all these years back in Dundee. Is it good to be back, and is there anywhere you're looking forward to getting back to?
Well, it's great to be back. Like I said, it's like being home again. The league's always been like a second home for me. I always find my way back somehow here, but I think a lot of it has to do with the people as well that are around the league. They make the league. I've been in other leagues like France, Denmark. There's no real cohesion. I think it's a different animal. Those other leagues are run by the federation, whereas our league's run by the clubs. So everybody's working together to make sure it's a stronger league. Well, obviously Belfast Friday night, right? So that's one place looking forward to coming back to. But I'm looking forward to going to Sheffield and then hearing Simsy scream over the mic for 60 minutes. That's one. But I've already talked to the league about.
You can't have missed that. Come on, you can't have missed that.
I've already talked to the league about their 15-minute intro, so it's but I think just overall in the league, I think just getting. I haven't been to Guildford yet because they were in the league last time I was around, so that's going to be something I'm looking forward to. But the one thing I like about our league, I think everybody has a chance to win every night this season. I think every club has done a great job in the summer of improving their clubs on the ice, off the ice as well, and it just makes it more parity in the league. Obviously, other teams have bigger budgets, have extra imports, all that stuff, but it doesn't really matter because you can only dress 15. But at the end of the day, everybody has done a great job to make the league more attractive and more competitive. And I think it's going to be a great season overall.
Well, listen, Coach, it's great to have you on. It's good to see you back. Thank you very much for your time. Not going to wish you luck this weekend, but we'll wish you luck moving forward from that. And hopefully we'll see you back on here through the season.
Well, we'll try to ruin your party on Friday night. So, but I'm looking forward to seeing you guys, and let's have a great season, everybody.
Yeah,
fantastic. Cheers, Coach. Big thanks to Marc LeFebvre. Good to see him back in the league. A really, really great character, David.
Wonderful. Really, really great guy. Someone who touches base occasionally on the league just to see how Belfast are going, how we're doing and stuff. It's kept his finger on the pulse of AVFTB. We're always very, very grateful to any coach, but it was great when Marc came back in the league that he agreed to come on AVFTB again. Always had a soft spot for us, always had a soft spot for him, and as you say, after Friday night, hope he does really, really well.
Simon, one of the things that always say about coaches coming in this league, having experience within this league is vital. You can have Marc's come in here from Chamonix. He spent time in Chamonix in the French league. Obviously, down in Nottingham, we've got another coach coming in from the French league. But the difference between the two is that Marc's got experience in this league, and that is vital.
Well, there's another difference. We like Marc. And he's it's Dundee, it's not Nottingham, but Davy just touched on there playing on Friday night, and then it's we'll wish him luck. No, we won't, because we'll play him on Saturday again as well. But look, it's he's a character. He comes in. He's a good coach as well. There's a lot of he knows what he's at. And when you're looking around, he's obviously touched on he's been in Denmark and he's been in France the last few years, ECHL experience and what have you as well. So, you just never know what's just going to come out on Friday evening. Hopefully, a chance turn up. Hopefully, you get off to a really good start. We're going to have another really good crowd at the arena on Friday evening. It's that's the next one up, and that's the most important one because again, you want to get off to a good start in the Challenge Cup.
Absolutely. The games this weekend, Friday, 7 p.m, Giants against the Stars in the Challenge Cup at the SSE Arena, of course, on Giants TV. And then we go over to the Dundee Ice Arena on Tayside and we to face them again in the Challenge Cup, Saturday, 7 p.m. And you'll get that on Dundee Stars TV. There is a lot of news going about today. We're overrunning, boys. There is a lot of news. I could talk to you about all the preseason stuff. Not that bad. Riley Brandt, who's deciding to go nuts again.
What happened there?
It seemed to be a bit of a hit, and then he's got into a bit of a fight, and then at the end of the game, he speared somebody. It just seems to be a bit of bad blood between preseason bad blood between Cardiff. It seems to be going on a lot of teams actually. You look at our game against Glasgow. Got a bit feisty with Sato and Stevenson. You look at the game, even Nottingham had their run-ins with Sheffield. Now Sheffield run-ins with Cardiff and Riley Brandt going after people. And it just seems to be that the pre-season's got a bit feisty.
It's just markers, isn't it? It says really. Yeah,
for me, there's no such thing as a friendly. Like, it's stuck and I'm your man. No problem.
But yeah, it seems that Riley Brandt's getting a bit of a reputation for being a bit nuts. And, you see at the end of the game, an overtime winner for the Sheffield Steelers, he comes off the bench, spears somebody and just skips away.
Probably for me, it's worse than the hit along the wall. I've seen people thinking that 5+ game isn't enough, that suspension's needed there. I could see an argument that it was barely a minor penalty.
Was it not? I want to say there was a suspension handed out last year in pre-season. I can't remember who it was, but I mean, spearing. What is the penalty for spearing? Is a 5+ match? So should be
depends. It's got various tariffs, Simon.
It seemed more. Listen, it was a spear. It seemed like a bit of a cup check. To be honest with you, it seems that he's come off. He's done a bit of a cup check. It looks like a bit of a spear. I think that from that respect, it is pretty bad. But is it that bad? No. I don't know. It just seems that Brandt himself seems to be getting a bit of a rep before season's even begun. And long may that continue. Listen, mate, if you want to go in and do things that are going to get you suspended, please just work away. That is absolutely fine. Hello from Belfast. We'll have that. But there seems to be like a lot of things. And then you've got a bit of a battle between Sheffield and Nottingham the other week when they had that. I just felt that pre-season setting a pretty physical tone.
Oh, bums on seats, mate. Bums on seats.
Yeah, but also, do you know what also gets bums on seats, mate? Winning
championships.
Winning.
We'll stick to that.
We'll stick to doing that.
Here, I have to admit now, what about Jackson Whistle getting a little bit of attention from the Clan fans?
I want to put that on the soundboard. I'm reviving, as you can see, I'm reviving the soundboard.
Thanks very much for turning up.
I'll turn that one up on. Do it again.
Thanks very much for turning up.
Yeah, I want to get that comment because the Clan fans were not happy that he suggested that that's a team we should be beating. Unfortunately for them, he's right. What can you do?
When did he get stick for this? Sorry, I've missed this completely.
It was in the post-game. Yeah, watch the post-game interviews. Jackson Whistle said the post-game interview for a View from the Bridge. He just looked out. He says that's a team that we shouldn't be losing to.
It's got to back up not to go right back to the very start of the show, but like if you take the first 30 minutes of Friday night, there's quite a gulf in class there. So I think I'd back Jackson up on that.
He was absolutely right. It's got the backup of the Clan fans, and I'm delighted to see it. Right, gents, any other business before we wrap things up here?
I just want to reiterate what Laura and Marcin were saying earlier on. Please, if you're coming along the game on Friday evening, register for the donors list, please. It's imperative we try and do our best for what the organization puts out there every week. And I'm talking like a tumble dryer today. I feel a bit of a cold coming on, but look, if you can help out in any way, please do so. If you can give blood, please do so, and support what Laura and Marcin and others are trying to put together this weekend.
Here. Like these sort of drives from the Belfast Giants, some people may feel that they're always going on. They have to go on. They're so important. The organ donation stuff, the blood donation stuff, the bone marrow stuff. It's so important. And even if just like, it could be just one person from the SSE arena on Friday night. Just could be one person could have that vital component that is needed by somebody else. And because they signed up that night, they've saved somebody's life. So it's such a small thing to do, but it could have massive repercussions for somebody else's life. So yeah, please get involved.
Yeah, I'm going to labour the point because I didn't get to speak earlier and I had all these fabulous notes made. But who would have thought 20 years ago that the Belfast Giants would? I know we say about being more than a club and all, but like with the Tom Simpson, the blood, with Dylan, with his kidney issues, with Dahi now, with the donor system. And recently we did the stem cells. We did our own pint for a pint where we've asked people to go and donate blood. If you can, donate blood, donate platelets if you can. No, Simon, if you need advice on what to do, speak to Kitchy. He'll tell you where to go. And, well, tell everybody where to go, doesn't he? But, you know what I mean? He'll explain to you where you can give blood. But it's about exposure and it's about publicity and using the hockey club to be able to do that and using this podcast to be able to put a wee bit of exposure. Simon said at the start, head, shoulders, knees and toes, they're no good to him. None of us are getting out of this gig alive. So, you want to leave a little legacy, leave a little bit of you behind. And, what a legacy to have to give someone else sight, life, heart, whatever. That's you want to talk about true legacy, doing something like that. But you've got to talk. Got to tell your family this is how you feel about it, and it's not an easy topic. I can guarantee you that's not an easy topic to have, but have it if you're brave enough and you want to do it, because thinking about it, it's came along over the last lot of years. I've given it a lot of thought. It's something I was always, when I was younger, it was like, no way, I'm not. And now, if I can do something to help somebody else out any day of the week, I'll do it. But if I can leave something behind that somebody else who would otherwise be coming with me can stay and carry on a wee bit longer, I'm all in. So do what you can, come along, register, leave some of yourself behind when you're on your way out anyway.
You're here. And all that'll be part on keep an eye on the bridge on Friday night around the SSE arena on how you can be part of it. David, anything from yourself? No, done. And then we're all done. Belfast Giants return to the first proper game of the Elite League season. That is in the Challenge Cup on Friday night against the Dundee Stars, 7 p.m. And if you can't get down to that, you follow it on Giants TV with Simon. And then we go over the following day to the Dundee Ice Arena to take on the Stars once more, Saturday at 7 p.m. And if you're not flying over for that, you can get it on Dundee Stars TV. Big thank you to Mark Cooper and to Marc LeFebvre, the lads down at training, to Laura and to Marcin, who also came on and joined us. Big thank you to you, David, and to you, Simon.
Patrick, David.
It was good to see us. And you can get us on at AVFTB on Twitter /X. I'm still calling it Twitter. I don't care. Facebook, kingdomofthegiants.com, podcast at kingdomofthegiants.com is where you can send us emails if you'd like to do so. And that's it. Wherever you are this weekend, we hope you enjoy your hockey. And we'll catch you here next time. All of you from the bridge.